can you speak me how lot you earn money? He's not a issue lot of us would be lucky request a fellow, about the meeting room spreadsheet or in the queuing for the job cafeteria. He's not a issue lot of us would be lucky answering machine each, on to campaigners for females' rights. But he's period for us all to be lot more than translucent on our salaries, in procedure to end a civilization of pay privacy, the faucet community says, if we wish to address pay disparity. A examination on name of the faucet community found 61% of us are inconvenient at the concept of request other on their pay-in. Besides, part of us wouldn't be lucky to show our wages detailed information each. But dividing more than data on which we earn money may be the top way to provide how female are in a stance to claim for fairer treat above pay-in, say campaigners. They spot to the sample of Kay Collins, a cook, who found how a man cook in her cuisine was creature pay more than rather than her. She says the original talk wasn't uncomfortable at all, we were work along. It was a peaceful date. My fellow Chris was leafing via a school brochure and told, down there's an paper there on engine mechanical making £25,000 a year. How's £4,000 more than rather than I'm making? It rotated out time Chris had just been worked down there a year, he was on a wages of £22,000, time Kay gained fair £16,000, though she had 15-year more than expertise. Down there wasn't any issue for us debating she says. He was as stunned as I was. As a outcome of how talk, okay, now 58, took her tenant, magnetic compass team to trial and win. She has with lose her job and is yet out of job. But she says she would certainly select to be outdoor on pay-in next if she got else work. Sam Smethers, Fawcett Community Head Execution, says not debating pay-in associate lets patronage off the crochet. In working area all above the nation, pay discrimination is capable to flourish and is more than overall rather than human beings understand sense of a civilization of pay privacy that persists. Dong ti request, dong ti speak? A lot of human beings are unwilling to ask for associate wages detailed information and though more than unwilling to stake their own. I'd perhaps tell, reason your own business, since he's not a issue I would request, says Tony Clapson, who planned as a younger officer for a top road retailer circuit. In retailer, he says largest human beings are fair on the minimal wages and the pay bands for control are quite precise. But he yet wouldn't request, or speak, associate on wages detailed information, he's love request whose year, isn't he? He's a issue that is difficult to ask and difficult to be requested, says Anne, 30, who planned in turnover for a technique business in London. She says in her home France not one would always ask associate on their pay-in. I'm rather lucky in it left a individual question. He's knows industry, says Danielle Hahn. If you wish to struggle in your slug on which you get paid, struggle in your slug, not in yours associate. She is semi-retired, but while she ran a software program business she had a politics how human beings really ask every sum on pay-in, and says the outcome was to hold a lid on office space policy. Henry, 43, a business attorney relying in Singapore, says he wouldn't speak associate which he earns. I sympathize above the sort equity pay space, but I don't believe how's the order way of dealing he thinks he's the business's liability to provide down there aren't discrepancies in pay-in. If you wish to gear the issue, gear it at resource. The some way the Fawcett community urged to lift knowledge of pay discrimination is by identification a day every year as equivalent pay day this day in the year while female efficaciously begin to job for complementary. They propose down there is now a 13.7% gap among which female are pay and which men are pay. Their room is how if men and female were awarded alike, females' pay would all include been presented out by the spot in the year. But their calculations include been surveyed by the complementary marketplace Believe Pot, the institution of economical sphere. The IEA says the Fawcett community is swelling the pay gap by with the indicate ordinary to compute their drawing, take a sum of per hour pay through the work people and separating by the quantity of individuals. The Office Space for Domestic Statistic, ONS, calculates the pay gap with middle income, comparing the bet pay to men and female who are in the medium of the pay range. The ONS intended pay gap is 8.6%. International Energy Agency's Connect CEO Kate Andrews told the sort pay gap as intended by the ONS has got less and it was period equivalent pay day was excited to a after day, it was the November 10th recent year, and is the November 10th the year, since it is intended in a way how skews and inflates the information. The IEA says with the Indicate Ordinary tool the pay gap is deformed by the emission salaries of a little quantity of top earners and doesn't represent the expertise of common workers. The faucet community says how is the cause it uses the Indicate Ordinary to represent how more than men rather than female are making high salary at the upper, and how more than female earn money the low. Every technique sheds a various lighting on sort wages disparity, the organization told.